The room fell silent. I could feel every heartbeat echoing in my chest as my supervisor, with a casual swipe of the mouse, deleted nearly 18 months of my painstaking work. "This methodology is unscalable and inefficient," they said, their voice calm, almost clinical, as if they were reviewing a spreadsheet rather than obliterating someone's dedication. My hands shook, my throat tightened, and for a moment I could barely breathe. All those late nights, countless revisions, and sleepless weekends, gone. But just like that. I, Maya, had always believed in meticulous, careful planning. My approach wasn't flashy, it wasn't rapid fire, but it worked, and it had been working quietly behind the scenes. I had poured my heart into every data point, every analysis, every model that I believed would eventually revolutionize our project. But to my supervisor, results were only measured by speed, scale, and audibility, not by accuracy or diligence. For days after that meeting, I was trapped in a haze. I walked the same routes to the office, stared blankly at my screen, and avoided everyone who might ask how I was doing. My colleagues offered sympathetic smiles, but no one could undo the damage, and in some ways it felt like they couldn't even understand the depth of it. It wasn't just about the work, it was my identity, my competence, my passion, all publicly dismissed in one calculated move. The challenge wasn't just emotional, it was professional. I had to figure out a way to recover not only the project, but also my reputation. Each day I faced the temptation to quit, to walk away before I could be humiliated again. Yet something inside me refused. I remembered my own words from a team meeting months ago: if we design carefully, the impact lasts longer. That conviction, the belief that methodical effort had value, was the lifeline I clung to. I began rebuilding quietly. First, I salvaged what I could from the scattered files and meeting notes, reconstructing the framework of my work. I reached out to a few trusted colleagues who had witnessed my methodology firsthand, explaining my approach and sharing the logic behind every step. Slowly, a small team of believers emerged, not out of obligation, but out of respect for the rigor and integrity of my work. The next challenge was perhaps the hardest, confronting my supervisor. I scheduled a private meeting, expecting resistance, dismissal, maybe even ridicule, but I walked in with my reconstructed data, clearly visualized processes, and practical projections. I spoke not with anger, but with clarity, showing the potential impact of my methodology if given a chance. It was a tense exchange. I remember the pause when they looked at the charts, the models, the evidence, the silence that felt louder than the public, humiliation. The breakthrough didn't happen immediately. It took months of persistence, incremental victories, and small, undeniable successes to prove that what I had once been told was inefficient could in fact produce scalable and sustainable results. In the process, I learned something critical. Validation doesn't always come from authority. It comes from resilience, from evidence, and from refusing to let one person's opinion define your value. By the time the project was officially recognized in our department, my supervisor's earlier dismissal was still a bitter memory, but it had lost its power over me. What mattered was that my approach worked, that it was appreciated by those who understood its depth, and that I had not compromised my principles. I had turned a public failure into a private triumph. The most profound lesson, though, was personal. I realized that in life, and especially in professional arenas, moments of humiliation, doubt, and rejection are inevitable. But these moments are not the end. They are opportunities to redefine yourself, to refine your methods, and to demonstrate that persistence, integrity, and belief in your own abilities can withstand even the harshest criticism. Years later, I look back on that moment, not with anger, but with gratitude. Losing 18 months of work in front of everyone was painful, humiliating, and disorienting, but it forced me to rise stronger, to innovate smarter, and to find allies who shared my vision. And if there's one message I want to leave for anyone watching, it's this: the world will sometimes underestimate your effort, dismiss your approach, and even humiliate your work. But if you hold fast to your integrity and persist with purpose, nothing can truly erase your impact.